welcome to today's press conference ahead of the Carabao Cup second round tie at Nottingham Forest. We'll start with Matthew as usual, then Sky and then BBC.
Thanks. Hi Eddie, good morning. Final day of Sandro Tonali's 10-month ban from competitive football. So firstly, can you confirm whether he'll be in your squad for Nottingham Forest tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely be in the squad, providing he comes through training today.
And how would you assess his fitness levels as he nears a comeback to playing?
Yeah, he's fit. He just hasn't had the match. The bigger space is the 11v11 that every footballer will tell you is the most important thing, really, the game time. But he's done everything else. He's completed all of training for a long period of time. He's worked incredibly hard with the sports science team to be on top of his fitness and make sure that he's fitter than when he got banned.
How do you think he's feeling?
I'd imagine there's a range of emotions. I mean, probably a lot of excitement, you feel like you're probably the next stage of his career, really. I think when you have a long period of time like he's had out, you have a lot of time to think and analyse and to reflect. I'm sure he's done all of those things, and now it's just he's doing what he loves, which is playing football, and that would be an incredible release for him.
There'll obviously be a lot of attention on him at Nottingham Forest and maybe in the first few weeks after he comes back. How do you ensure, and how important is it that you ensure that he's not affected by any external pressures?
I think it's the same for all the players, to be honest. I think the microscope is on everybody, and it will be on Sandro for a period of time. I think he understands that. We understand that. I think it's small steps. I think for us, we just expect him to be himself and play his game. He's a very intelligent footballer. He's a very good technician. He has to play to his strengths and not try to do anything out of the ordinary, really, and that will be hugely effective for us.
How are you going to work it at Nottingham Forest in terms of using your squad?
Yeah, we'll look at it today. I mean, I think we'll try and play a really strong team. We want to progress. We will make changes as well at the same time, because we have a squad that I think enables me to do so while not weakening the quality. You saw the strength of our bench on Sunday, which made a huge difference. So I think there's a lot of players that are very eager to show what they can do. So I think it's an ideal opportunity to do that. And
it's a competition that remains hugely important to you as a manager, but also to the club, isn't it?
No, it is, and we're determined to try and do well. I think we've had that focus ever since I've been here to do well or try and do well in every competition. Now, this competition has been good for us. Last year, we were incredibly close to another semi-final, and that was a bit of a low point in our season, really, because we were so close. The season before, of course, we reached the final, so we've got good memories of the competition and we want to do well.
Last thing from me, if things had been different, Elliot Anderson may well have been in your team for this match. He made the move to Forest in the summer. He's played in both their league games. I imagine it'll be good to see him, but I think it's probably been a difficult situation, hasn't it, that move and the manner in which it happened for him?
Yeah, I mean, everything that you've said there is 100% correct. Watching their game in preparation for this was it was good to see Elliot play so well against Southampton. I thought he was excellent. He really contributed to their winning performance in midfield, showed his versatility. I thought he did really well, but it was tinged with sadness for me because we've lost an outstanding, not just player, but person as well from the group. We wish him well, but of course we'll be competing against him in this game.
Thanks, Matthew. If you could just use your microphone, click them on and off for each question. Thank you.
Eddie, good morning.
Peter, sorry, can you just click your microphone on, please, for your question?
It's on.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's working.
Yeah. This one working? Okay. Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Before I talk Newcastle, can I ask you about Sven? Everybody in football seems to be paying tribute to the man this morning. What are your thoughts, please?
Yeah, very sad news. Very saddened. It seemed very sudden. So yeah, thoughts to his family. A great football man. You look back at his career. Wow, what a career he had. Everywhere he went, I think he was loved, and I think that's been an outpouring of emotion upon his passing. But thoughts with his family.
I think he had a great affection for Newcastle, didn't he? I'm sure he visited St James's Park on a number of occasions. He had quite a bond with the club.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily aware of that, but an unbelievable football man, and I think when you look at the jobs that he had and the pressures that comes with those jobs, and the success he had, it's a career of great memories, I'm sure, for him and his family, and a great time to reflect.
Back to Newcastle, not long to go now before the window closes. Any joy at all in either keeping players or bringing players in?
Well, yeah, at the moment, keeping players is a success, as I sit here today. In terms of incomings, no, that work's still going on behind the scenes. A few days left. I think everyone's trying their best to improve the squad, and yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with the next few days.
The Mark Gage story doesn't seem to go away. Are you still hopeful, or have you given up on Mark?
I'm not going to comment on individual players.
And Kieran, where are you with Kieran? Because there was a lot of speculation about Kieran wanting away. He seemed to relish coming on at half-time on Sunday. Is that an encouraging sign for you?
Absolutely. I think when you look at his performance on Sunday, that was a performance of someone that was focused and ready to help the team. I thought he did in every aspect. I thought all the substitutes did, enhanced our performance. But it's Kieran's experience and his know-how on the pitch seemed to have a galvanising effect on the group. So I was very pleased with his impact.
More talks with him this week then?
No, only football talk. There'd be no need for any other talk. I think he's in a good place.
And finally, can I ask you, everybody in this room has been talking about Oasis. Big fan?
Can't say anything other, can I? It's, yeah, I was actually in the 90s. I did enjoy their music. I bought a lot of the big albums, and yeah, it was the Blur and Oasis rivalry was a great thing to experience actually, and I liked both bands, so I'm going to sit right on the fence on that one. But no, I enjoyed their music.
Get a ticket?
I might have to speak to a couple of contacts if I can. I think my wife's desperate to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Eddie. In terms of Notts Forest tomorrow, how big a challenge will they be for Newcastle United?
Yeah, big challenge. I think they've started the season well. And from the games that we've watched, deservedly got the points that they have. I think you've seen a slow evolution under Nuno to a very effective counter-attacking style with a lot of pace in their team, good physicality in their team. So I think we're prepared for, another difficult game. It always is at the City ground. I think we've had a couple of good results recently since going there, but very difficult ground, great atmosphere. And I know both teams will want to progress in an important competition for both of us. So they'll be confident, we'll be confident. I think it's set up to be a good game.
How are you going to counter their threat?
Well, I think we have to do slightly better than we did against Bournemouth in a few of the details. So certainly we're looking for an improved performance generally, but I thought there was a lot of good things in our last performance, but some stuff that we still have to work on and get better at. I think always when you go away from home, you're looking at the mentality first and you're looking at how we approach the game and our desire to win. That's got to be as strong as it needs to be. The group, I think, did really well in the battling qualities in the first two games, but we want to see a bit more technical quality.
And where would you put your aspiration in terms of Carabao Cup, in terms of this season? Where does it rank in terms of League, FA Cup, European aspirations? Yeah,
I don't rank them. They're all the same. They're all... the most important game is the next one. There is no prioritising in terms of competitions. We want to try and win every game.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you. Lee Ryder?
Eddie, on Sunday, we've seen you go through the motions a little bit, almost kicking every ball in the touchline to the point where you're getting probably a bit frustrated, but you made changes. You've got that ability now, haven't you? If you want to hold somebody off, you can do that now.
That's one way of putting it. I prefer to say tactical switches. I think we have a stronger squad to pick from currently, and the challenge for us is to keep that throughout the season as you go through different campaigns. And of course, this week we have a 3-game week, which always produces extra demands. So the strength of the squad is hugely important. The ability to make tactical changes during games, you see something different. But of course, you're reliant on the attitude of the players and the quality of the players that come on the pitch to try and make the difference. And sometimes that's more difficult, some weeks than other weeks. But I think this week we saw all 5 players contribute, make a difference, get us a valuable point. and keep positive feeling around the club.
And you've got people like Tino Livramento and Lewis Hall now that they're a bit older, they're moving on, but I guess no young player can take anything for granted once you get into the team.
No young player, no experienced player should take anything for granted because the competition is so high. And I think that's what we missed last year. We missed that competition for places throughout. The team at one stage of the season was picking itself. That's never healthy. So now we have that competition. It's almost I've got players competing that are very, very level in terms of what they can deliver. And so that's going to push, hopefully, which we've seen previously with players in other positions, to better performances. Because the demand to stay in the team is great, and you're going to have to be consistent. So that's a great thing for me to have.
Just finally, on the goalkeeper situation, and you can't mention individual names, obviously, but is it fair to say that there will be a goalkeeper movement one way or the other before the window?
No, there's no guarantee. I mean, that is a possibility, but nothing's decided currently.
Thanks, Lee. I'll go to Dominic and then Jordan.
Morning, Eddie. Just what's the latest with Callum Wilson after he missed the first 2 games of the season?
Yeah, he's continuing his rehabilitation from injury. I'm happy with his progress. He's working very hard, as he always does, on this road back. We miss him. I think that's very clear to see, because I think he adds a different dynamic and will help share the load with other players. So he's such an important character as well. We miss him when he's not in the squad and around the players. So, but fingers crossed we can get him back soon.
Do you expect he'll be back before the international break?
No, he definitely won't be back before the international break.
Cheers. Thanks, Dom. Jordan?
I just on the subject of strikers, how was Willis Hula second?
Yeah, he's doing really well. Very pleased with him. I think it's always a big step when you come to a club of this size and stature, and everything that goes with that. It's a lot for a young player to take on board. His first move as well in his career. So I think he's handled himself with real class. He's trained very well. He's been very level. He's been very grounded. He's focusing on his game and making improvements to his game that he needs to make. But he's got all the qualities that we saw when we signed him. He has. I'm really looking forward to seeing how his career develops.
And on Sandro, is there a temptation to start him tomorrow, and does he need a start sooner rather than later?
There's temptation to do anything we want with him. He's done the work. I feel confident that if we were to start him, he would be fit enough to play. So I'll have to make that decision.
Thanks. We'll go to Luke and then Craig. Luke?
I know it's a difficult time of year, but sometimes I do need to push you for a straight answer. If you had to choose one of Blur and Oasis, which one would it be?
I like your serious tone leading up to that question. Really enjoyed that. Are you serious?
Yeah. Why not?
I'd two answers, two bits to this. I think back then it would have been Blur, but I think now it would be Oasis.
Okay, good answer.
It's very good, isn't it?
On to transfers. Did you imagine at the start of the window you would get to this stage and still be looking to do business, or so much business?
Did I expect to get to this stage?
Could you even have imagined it, really? It's gone very, very late, isn't it? I think people are a bit twitchy that there hasn't been the arrivals that people imagined coming in.
I think from my side, I think when you go into the window, you sort of have an idea of not necessarily what's going to happen, but the parameters you're working in. So I think there was every chance this was going to be a difficult one for us, difficult to navigate because of so many different reasons. So no, I'm not totally surprised. I think the one when you're in my shoes is always to have the squad together as early as possible, so you can mould the squad and you can get used to personalities that are coming in, and you can have that settled feeling around the squad. I think that there's challenges when you bring players in late because it just brings uncertainty and a lack of clarity. But we're working through that, and we've got a few days left. I'm hopeful, but there's no guarantees.
So not confident, but hopeful.
Yeah, hopeful.
Hopeful, thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Craig Hope and George Culkin.
Morning, Eddie. A continuation of Luke's theme in terms of putting you on the spot. Centre back or a right winger?
Yeah, look, I can understand the questions, but for me, there's always a level of respect that needs to be shown to your existing members in your squad, and I respect every player that we have in every position, and I would never disrespect the players. So that's not for me to answer. We're trying to strengthen the group. We're trying to make the right decisions and bring the right players in.
And just on Sandro, do you believe he's a better player than the one we last saw before the ban? And if so, why?
I'm not sure. I think that has to be proved. You can make bold statements. I want Sandro to come back and first enjoy his football. Actually, probably first in everything around his life be settled and in control of that situation, and then enjoy his career and enjoy his football. And I think if you get a happy player, you get a much better player. So I've seen enough of Sandro all these months that I really do back his ability. I still love the player. Just hopeful that he can come in a calm way and just add to the team in his way.
And does he have a debt to you and to the football club in many ways because of the way you've supported him, because of the way you've handled the situation?
I don't know if debt's the right word. I think Sandro will naturally feel like he wants to repay everyone at Newcastle for the trust that we showed it in when we signed him. And I think naturally whenever you go to a new club, there's always that want to show everyone your qualities and give to the team and give to his teammates. I'm sure all those things are there for him. We've just handled the situation as we think best and tried to support the human rather than looking at him as a footballer first and foremost. And that's what we'd do to anyone in this situation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. George?
Hi, Eddie. You've said more than once that this has been your toughest or most difficult kind of window so far. Can it still be a good window?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, of course. It only takes one player to make the window a success or failure, however people view it. So we hope certainly with a few days to go, as I said, we can do something. And if we can, then I always think these things need time. You can never make... I've seen so many times people go, we've had the best window ever, and then a year later the team hasn't been successful. So time is always the best judgment of that. And sometimes not signing a player or the wrong player is just as successful. So hopefully I'll make sense. Let's see what happens.
And in terms of that difficulty, it's not just about bringing players in. It feels like this has possibly been the first sort of unsettling window for the players you already have. Is that fair comment?
I think that's fair comment. I think that is probably something that may well exist here for the foreseeable future, because the more successful you are and the better the players do, of course, they're wanted by other clubs, and I think that's part and parcel of every club's existence. And you almost want that problem, because that means your players are performing at a very, very high level. So it comes with the territory, and so as I say, it's almost two-sided, that one.
Okay, we'll go to Mark Douglas at the back, then across to Louise Taylor.
Eddie, we kind of forget that at the time when Sandro went out of the team, there was a little bit of debate about whether he could play with Bruno. Has his sort of absence shown you maybe that was a bit of a false debate, that they can play together and that you've got a role in mind for him that will come in and sort of slot in seamlessly?
Yeah, I think there's real competition for places in that area now, which we didn't have last year, and I think that's where his absence was really, really felt during our injury troubles of last year, where we had 3, sometimes 2 fit centre midfielders. I think currently we have a bit of a luxury in terms of numbers, with only Louis Miley missing through injury, which will give us really good competition for places, which, as I said earlier, is what we need. I think Sandro's game can play different roles within our midfield, depending on what our tactical structure looks like. That versatility is important for us. For me, he can certainly play with Bruno. There's no midfield players that we have that can't play with each other. I think I'd like to think that doesn't exist, that problem. But of course, we have to prove that on the pitch, and Sandy has to prove that when he comes back and play as well as he can.
In terms of his character, you've obviously seen the kind of person that he is when he's in some of his lowest moments. Do you sort of believe that he's a character who's who can add something to his group? Because you've obviously seen him at his lowest moments, and he seems to have thrived.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very strong guy. He's handled this situation, as I've said many times, so well. He's shown real strength, dignity, integrity. He's been really strong because he's been isolated at times. It hasn't all been easy for him. He's had to really, I'm sure he's had some really low moments and some lonely moments where the team are playing, and sometimes when we're having 2 away games, we're not been at the training ground for say 5-6 days. He's had to train on his own in isolation. And keep his focus and keep his spirits high in all those testing times for him. So I think we'll get a different player back. I think we'll get a stronger player mentally. I think we'll get someone who'll enjoy his football and probably appreciate every moment because it's been taken away from him for a long period of time. So hopefully we'll get the benefits of all of that.
Is there any way that you've managed to keep him part of the group when maybe physically he hasn't been able to be part of the group? If you just is there anything that you've done?
Well, we always have different things that we're trying, and we try to make the injured players and suspended players still part of the team. So I hope Sandro would have felt that team spirit still in existence.
Thanks, Mark. Louise Taylor?
Hi, Eddie. Now, I believe that Sandro has to make 16 trips to Italy in the next 8 months as part of his suspended ban. How awkward logistically is that going to be for you, and do you have a say as to when he goes, or could he conceivably miss midweek games?
Yeah, I don't envisage him missing games because of that. I think so I imagine it will be around, as it has been previously, around his training at a time that suits him. So no problems regarding that, and it's really important that he does go back.
And how important is he to the evolution of the team and its playing style? So if you move on eventually from the sort of hard, high press, total intensity, can he offer you a gateway to play in a different style?
I think every player naturally adjusts our style slightly to their own game, but it's important it's around the team framework. I don't think there'd be much change in terms of our off the ball game plan. Sandro has to fit into that, and he does, and he has the ability to do it. On the ball, he'll bring his qualities, he'll bring his composure and his ability to play the way that he does, and that will be something that naturally fits our style.
And there's a final question. There's a sort of, in kind of medical circles, there's a kind of demarcation between like a gambling addict and a problem gambler, which is the latter is a sort of subclinical thing. Is he a genuine addict, or is it more on the problem side of it?
I'm not going to go there.
Thanks, Louise. Dominic Shaw?
Heidi, how important have Sandro's teammates been in helping him through this last year?
Yeah, I think your teammates are so important, and the environment and the culture is so important for someone in Sandro's position. He's really well liked by his teammates, I will say that, and I think I've seen him form really strong friendships, a really good social network, people that he can rely on and talk to, and really good role models for him to be around. So I'm really pleased to see him develop those friendships over time, and I think that's so important to your future success within a squad. I think you've got to feel part of the fabric, you've got to feel involved, and certainly he looks at home here now.
And you were asked about right winger or centre half there. Can you do both this week?
Probably not, no.
Okay, go to Martin Hardy.
Hi Eddie, when was the first time you spoke to Sandro after he was questioned with the Italy squad? And at that time, if you can remember, how worried were you for him back then?
Martin, that's a difficult one to sort of go back to from my side to recall every sort of step of that. But I think it just generally it was a real feeling of, firstly, just being worried about the person genuinely, because when you see the media headlines and you know the players facing this moment, that is not easy for any person. So it was really just to help him and protect him, and of course we knew the consequences for us, but that was secondary to him himself.
And have you two been on a journey together through this 10-month period?
I think not necessarily together. I think Sandro's been through it with all of us. I don't think it's just me. It's the staff have supported him, and he's leaned on different people throughout that time, because naturally he's been probably more with the sports science team in certain moments than he has with as I said, with us, because we might have been away and playing games and travelling. So I think he's leaned on different people throughout that experience. It definitely isn't just me. The other coaches, as I say, his teammates have probably been the most important people. That'll be who he'll be spending the most time with.
And has there been a learning process for you as a manager and for the club as a whole in how to deal with Sandro's problem?
Yeah, well, I think education's the key, and I think we've tried to invest time to spread that across the football club, whether that's the academy, the first team, ladies team. You know, we do need to spread awareness and help everybody that might come into difficulties.
And sorry, last one. In terms of that mood 10 months ago, what's the contrast like with Sandro to this week? Do you see genuine excitement in him, and can you see that change?
I've said many times he's not outwardly expressive, so it's the same. No doubt I'll see the same Sandro today. He'll be cool, calm, collected, but I'm sure inside he'll be really looking forward to his return, and I'm sure he can't wait to wear that shirt again.
Thanks, Martin. Kieran, and then to Simon.
Morning, Eddie. It's a challenging market, as you've talked about before, but do you feel the backing from above to go and get that player you want?
Yeah, there's no problem with the backing and the support. Never has been. It's the rules we're trying to abide by, and every decision we make has a consequence for the future. So we've got to make sure that we're making wise decisions, not leaving ourselves in a vulnerable position again further down the line. So that's why these decisions are complex. It's not as simple as being backed, that there's backing there. Everyone wants the same result at the football club, but it's making the best decisions for the long term.
Paul Mitchell's not had long to settle in, really coming in during a window. How pivotal could he be in helping you guys with his negotiation experience in the final days of the window?
Sorry, I missed the name there.
Sorry, Paul Mitchell.
Paul.
Obviously, he's come in during a window, not had long to settle in. How important a role will he have in the final days with his negotiating experience?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as I said, I'm not doing the deals. As I said, my role sort of stops on the choosing of the players and deciding which avenue to go. Paul Paul again doesn't work in isolation. He works with a team of people, and we're all one team working for the same outcome. And I'm building a really good relationship with Paul. I've been really happy with how things have been progressing, and so it's not on any one person, and we're trying to get the right end result for the club.
Thanks, Kieran. Simon Bird.
Hi, Eddie. Just another one on Sandro. His agent said he had a gambling illness. How do you stop it happening again, specifically with Sandro? And is there anyone asking him regularly if he's bet and if he's over this? It's such a personal thing with their phones.
Yeah, that's again a complex question. I think I would never go into Sandro's individual situation, because that's his private life and his situation that he'll continue to work on. But yes, he's getting the care from the club and he's getting care from the respective people. Now that will be a continuous thing for Sandro. That will never stop. So we have to give him the care, and of course communication is absolutely vital in this respect. And of course, now his football career resumes. Hopefully that is a stimulus in itself to help him really focus on that.
It seems such an impossible thing when you're signing a player to know what's going on in that level of their personal life. Is there anything the club's doing while they're making signings for this window to kind of protect them, to protect the club and yourselves against something happening again? Is there a clause or something related to gambling in deals you're doing now?
Yeah, that is a very difficult subject, really, and it's not clear. It's not something that you can necessarily add in that is absolutely covers everything. The club are, of course, aware and will do everything in their powers to try and make sure we don't end up signing players that may potentially have this issue, but there's no guarantee. And I don't think there's anything really legally you can do. But I know the club are aware of it.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.